Not loud. Not obvious. Just, wrong. A soft click. The kind of sound you don't notice at first, until your brain whispers, "Wait, what was that?" I froze halfway up the stairs, my hand still gripping the railing. The house was supposed to be empty. Completely empty. I lived alone. No roommates. No pets. No one with a spare key. And yet. Click. There it was again. Coming from downstairs. A normal night. Until it wasn't. It was just past midnight. I had locked everything, I always did. Front door. Locked. Back door. Locked. Windows. Checked twice. I even had this annoying habit of going back to check them again right before bed. People used to laugh at me for it. But tonight, that habit didn't make me feel safe. It made things worse. Because I knew everything was locked. So whatever made that sound was already inside. Trying to be rational, "Old house," I whispered to myself. That's what people say, right? Houses make noises. Wood shifts. Pipes creak. Totally normal. Totally explainable. Except, this wasn't a creak. It was precise. Deliberate. Like someone gently closing a door, trying not to be heard. The first check I slowly walked back down the stairs, each step groaning under my weight. I hated how loud everything suddenly felt. The hallway light flickered as I turned it on. "Hello?" I called out. My voice sounded smaller than usual. No response. Of course there wasn't. Because no one was there. Right? The kitchen. The sound had come from the kitchen. I was sure of it. I stepped in slowly, my eyes scanning everything. Chairs tucked in. Sink empty. Windows closed. Nothing moved. Nothing out of place. I let out a shaky breath. "See? Nothing," I muttered. I almost laughed at myself. Almost. The detail that changed everything. Then I noticed it. The back door. Still locked, but slightly open. Just a few inches. Enough to let in a thin line of cold air that brushed against my legs. My heart dropped. No, I locked that. I remembered locking it. I always did. I walked closer, each step heavier than the last. The lock was still turned. Still secured. But the door was open. Something was wrong. That's when the temperature changed. Not gradually. Instantly. Like stepping into a freezer. My breath became visible in the air. And then, tap. Right behind me. I wasn't alone. I spun around. Nothing. Just the empty hallway. But I could feel it. That heavy, suffocating feeling of being watched. Not imagined. Not anxiety. Real. Something was there. Close. Too close. The first proof. I backed up slowly, and stepped on something wet. I looked down. A footprint. Not mine. Dark. Damp. Leading away from the back door. And deeper into the house. That I shouldn't have followed them. I knew that. Every instinct in my body was screaming one thing: run. Get out. Leave the house. But I didn't. Because those footprints were leading somewhere. They were still wet. I crouched down slowly, my breath shaking as I stared at them. They weren't fading. They weren't drying. They looked fresh. Like whoever made them had just walked in. Seconds ago. Right before I heard that click. Something didn't add up. The footprints weren't muddy. Not bloody either. Just dark. Like water. But thicker. Heavier. Almost like the floor itself was absorbing something it didn't understand. And then I realized something that made my stomach twist: they weren't just going forward. Some of them were facing the wrong direction. Impossible movement. I leaned closer. My heart began pounding harder. The footprints twisted, mid-step. As if whoever made them had turned their feet all the way around. Without turning their body. Okay, no. No, that's not possible. I stood up quickly. This wasn't normal. This wasn't a person. The hallway. The trail led into the hallway. The darkest part of the house. Of course it did. The light switch was right there, but I didn't touch it. I don't know why. Maybe some part of me was afraid of what I'd see if the lights came on. Or worse, what I wouldn't see. Breathing. That's when I heard it. Not footsteps. Not movement. Breathing. Slow. Deep. Right in front of me. But the hallway was empty. Face to face with nothing. I know you're there, I whispered. The breathing stopped. Silence filled the air. Heavy. Pressing. Like the house itself was listening. And then, something whispered back. It knew my voice. I know. My blood turned cold. The voice was mine. The wrong reflection. I backed away instantly, my eyes darting around the hallway. That's when I caught it. Out of the corner of my eye. The mirror at the end of the hall. I wasn't looking at it directly. But I could see my reflection. Standing there. Not moving. But I was moving. I raised my hand slowly. My reflection didn't. It just stood there. Smiling. The smile. I don't smile like that. No one does. It was too wide. Too stretched. Like skin pulled beyond its limit. And its eyes. Locked onto mine. Not copying me. Watching me. The first move, you locked the doors, it spoke again. Still in my voice. Still smiling. But you didn't lock me out. The lights flickered. And for a split second, the reflection moved. Not like me. Toward me. Darkness. Everything went black. Something touched me in the darkness. Something brushed against my shoulder. Cold. Wet. Slow. Like fingers dragging across my skin. Right behind me. And then I heard it. Not in front of me. Not in the mirror. But right behind me. Close enough that I could feel its breath on my neck. The darkness didn't last long. Just long enough to make my heart skip a beat, and then my vision returned in a dim, flickering light. The hallway looked empty. Too empty. But the feeling? The weight on my chest, the cold breath, it hadn't gone. Something was still there. The eyes in the dark. I turned slowly, scanning the hallway. Nothing. Empty walls. Empty floor. Then I noticed it, a shadow. Not moving, but somehow alive. It shifted the way shadows shouldn't. Not cast from light. Not natural. Not human. And then I saw its eyes. Black. Endless. Watching me from the corner where light didn't reach. It spoke. You thought locking the doors would save you, it whispered. The voice wasn't mine anymore. This time. It was ancient. Hollow. Every word vibrated through the air and my bones. I've been inside, long before you even noticed. Flashbacks. My house was never alone. Images flashed in my mind, late nights, hearing someone walking upstairs while I slept. Items moved, but never stolen. Shadows darting at the corner of my eye. Whispering when the lights went out. It wasn't random. It wasn't imaginary. It had been living inside my house for years. Waiting. Watching. Learning me. The first contact I tried to run. Every door I reached, locked tight. It wasn't about getting in. It was about letting it out. And it had already been inside me. Every fear. Every doubt. Every lonely night, it fed on them. And now it wanted more. The reflection returns. I glanced at the mirror again. It wasn't just my reflection. It was it. Same twisted smile. Same black, endless eyes. Moving independently. I realized, it wasn't in the house. It was part of me. Every step I took, every move I made, it mimicked me, and learned me. The final warning: you can lock doors, it said softly. Close windows. Check every corner. But you can't lock me out of yourself. I froze. The mirror's surface rippled, like water. And suddenly, the hallway behind it looked different. Darker. Longer. Infinite. And then I felt it, hands. Not cold. Not warm. Just, inevitable. The twist: I didn't die that night. Not physically. But I changed. I'm telling you this now, to warn you, whatever haunts your house, whatever whispers your name. It's not always outside. Sometimes, it's already inside. Watching. Waiting. Smiling that I ran. Not down the hallway, not through the kitchen. I ran inside my own mind. Because that's where it was. The mind game. Every door I opened, led back. To the same hallway. Every window I tried, revealed my own reflection smiling back. I screamed. No sound came out. The house didn't respond. It mimicked me, feeding off fear, twisting reality. The infinite reflection. I stumbled into the living room. The mirror from the hallway was here too. And every reflective surface, windows, screens, even the polished floor, showed it. It wasn't copying me now. It was me. Only darker. Twisted. Perfectly patient. And it whispered, "You thought I needed doors?" I realized, it never did. It had been inside me from the start. The attempted escape. I tried to leave. The front door swung open. Empty street outside. Moonlight. Silence. I stepped outside. Relief. Freedom. And then I saw the shadow behind me. My shadow. But it moved on its own. And it smiled. The chase. I ran down the street. No one around. No cars. No streetlights. Just me, and the shadow that was me. Every step I took, it matched. Except faster. Closer. Every corner I turned, it was already there. The final realization. I stopped. Breath ragged. Heart pounding. And I understood. It wasn't chasing me. It was waiting. It was me. The part of me I never locked out. Fear. Doubt. Loneliness. It had been alive all along. And I had let it in. The viral twist ending. I locked the doors. I closed the windows. I hid. But it followed. Because some things aren't outside. They're already inside. And the worst part? It's patient. It's smiling. And now, it's waiting for you. I thought I understood it. I thought I could outrun it. I thought it was just a shadow, a reflection, a trick. I was wrong. It appears I blinked. The living room was empty. Until the air shifted. I turned. And there it was. Not a reflection this time. Not a shadow. A figure. Tall. Black. Limbs too long. Skin that shimmered like liquid darkness. And its face, my face.